Good morning, everyone. It's Rob of the Actors Workshop, and we are into 1998. And finally, it's slowing down. And I don't mean finally in a bad way. I just predicted early in the 90s that the amount of movies we were going to go through were not going to be as long as the 70s and 80s, and I was wrong for a lot of these years. But now, as we're getting into the 98, I've got only 10 to show you today and 4 albums. So it'll be a lot shorter of an episode than they've been, but I do appreciate everybody watching and leaving their comments and all of that fun stuff. So for 1998, I'm going to start with the comedies, and I usually seem to start with the comedies. And once again, kind of like I've said with other movies, you're not going to hear me talk about Saving Private Ryan. For example, that's a movie that a lot of people like, and once again, I've seen it, I enjoy it, but it's not a go-to for me, and it is what it is, and it might be on your list, and I think that's the kind of, once again, we repeat ourselves over and over again, but it's kind of cool that we have different tastes and different likes, and that may be yours, but it's not mine. But the first comedy for 98 I'm going to start with is Robin Williams and Patch Adams. He does a really good job in being Robin Williams. And yesterday we were talking about Good Will Hunting and him being out of his element. I'll take Robin Williams all day in The Birdcage and Good Morning Vietnam, and Patch Adams is another one of those. The guy who plays the Dean of Students is the guy from Shawshank, who's the warden, and he's just a jerk in this, and it's just like he's the same guy that he is as the warden, but now he's the Dean of Students, and he doesn't like Robin Williams' fun, happy way of being as a doctor. It doesn't fit the criteria, and he kind of sheds light on a lot of the other doctors of that patient care can be a little bit more personal and not so matter of fact. And it's Monica Potter is the female lead in it. She does a nice job, and it has some twists and turns to it. You see a young Philip Seymour Hoffman. I guess he's not super young, but he's still younger in his career at this point as one of the doctors, and a good cast, a fun movie, and something more up Robin Williams' alley. Next comedy, we all know it. Ben Stiller, Cameron Diaz, Matt Dillon. There's something about Mary. My favorite part is when Brett Favre shows up, and the first one that knows how to say his name correctly is Matt Dillon, and Matt Dillon just staring at him going, what the hell is Brett Favre doing here? And Brett Favre just is perfect. A lot of times you don't get athletes that act too well in movies, but Brett Favre's just, I'm in town to play the Dolphins, you dumbass, and it's just perfect. It's natural, it's not pushed, and it is a really, really funny moment. There's a lot of funny moments, but I don't like the ridiculous humor. I don't like the nuts getting stuck in the zipper kind of thing. I like more of the one-liners and the zingers and the behavior type comedy. That's the one that always stands out to me is the Brett Favre line. But like I said, we know it, one of the early Ben Stiller kind of goofy comedies, and it's fun. The Mask of Zorro, Anthony Hopkins, Antonio Banderas, and Catherine Zeta-Jones. I like this movie because I like the original Zorro a lot. It's called The Mask of Zorro, and it's Tyrone Power, just to kind of show you. And he is Don Diego de la Vega. That is who Zorro is. And what's cool about this one is Anthony Hopkins plays Don Diego de la Vega, and he's aging, he's older, and he kind of passes the torch to Alejandro de la Vega, and Catherine Zeta-Jones plays his wife. But it's not a remake of Zorro, it's a continuation, if you will. And once again, we talk a lot about creativity and things that you see unique, especially when they're trying to do sequels or continuations. And we have another one in here that's kind of a sequel, but it's different. And I like that in a movie because it makes it unique. So it's a Zorro movie, but it's a different style of Zorro movie, so you can enjoy them in their own rights, which is kind of cool. And the acting is very, very good. The next one then I'll show you guys is the other remake, which is or not remake, sequel, U.S. Marshals. This is part 2. The first one was The Fugitive, but this time they're chasing Wesley Snipes, and it's different. Same crew with Tommy Lee Jones, and then they add Robert Downey Jr. to it. Joe Pantoliano is in it. Joe is great because, whether he's in this, and I think I got him in something else, maybe in here. But whether it's Midnight Run or it's Running Scared, or he's, the pimp in Risky Business, or, he's in this, he's always consistently Joe Pantoliano. And, he's one of those guys, once again, that you look him up, you go, oh yeah, I've seen this guy, I know this guy. Well, it's funny because my friend Barry is cousins with Joe. And I always say to Barry, like, hey, what is he like in real life? And he's like, that's who he is. He's that guy. And he's cast as that, and he comes across as that guy, and he's really, really consistent in being who he is. And it doesn't matter, like I said, if he's a bail bondsman, or he's one of the marshals, or he's Snake and Running Scared, running drugs, or, whatever else it is. It's always just him. It looks like him. It sounds like him. And the behaviors are all the same. He just changes jobs, like we've talked about a lot with these. And, he does really good in this. And like I said, this is a sequel, but it's a different story. So you get the continuation of the Marshals, but you get a new person they're chasing down, a new fugitive, if you will, in Wesley Snipes. And so it's a fun, different story, and not as good as The Fugitive, but still a pretty strong movie in its own right. Next up, Edward Norton, Matt Damon, Rounders, awesome. John Malkovich, pay that man his money. I don't do it as well as he does in his Russian voice, but, when you get gambling and card games going on and money flowing, and Edward Norton and Matt Damon in their prime going back and forth, it makes for a really, really strong movie. And I love the cover, how it's like a pack of cards. It's super cool. But this is the first of 2 Edward Norton movies we're going to talk about. And I like this one a lot. It's a really strong, fun movie with some good plots to it. The other Edward Norton, you guys could guess. Whew, American History X. Pretty powerful. Kind of falls in line with Schindler's List and Deer Hunter and some of these other movies. It's a mood movie. The scene where he makes the guy eat the curb, and it's a hard watch. It's so real and believable, but he does such a good job. This, to me, from the acting standpoint, is his best role. He's just so believable. At the beginning, when he's so hateful, and then when he kind of he's wised up and he's older and kind of trying to pass it on to his brother, he just does such a good job. Stacy Keach does an amazing job as like the head guy of that group, and Edward Furlong as the brother. I'm not a big fan of him, but boy, he's good in this, and it's just a really strong, powerful movie. The acting's good. The story is just, dramatic, and it makes for a pretty heavy film, but also a really good film. The next Michael Douglas on our list, Viggo Mortensen, Gwyneth Paltrow, A Perfect Murder. Michael Douglas is married to Gwyneth Paltrow and hires Viggo Mortensen to help out with The Perfect Murder. I don't want to ruin too much, but it's in the title. It's a little bit away from normal Michael Douglas films, but still him being him. And he's kind of fun being sinister. He's kind of fun doing his thing, I like this movie a lot. Viggo's in his prime, right? He was, he's done, Crimson Tide and The Prophecy, and, now he's doing this, and he's starting to, do all these different movies, which he's another one that's really consistent, right? He does his thing, looks, sounds like him, and it just comes across, and it doesn't matter. And this is another one where he does that, and it's a good cast, and that's the key. Is if you get good actors and actresses and they're doing their thing, it will carry the film. And that's this. I'm a fan of Michael Douglas, so it's hard for me not to enjoy this movie. Yesterday we talked about The Game, which was a little bit different than he was doing, and then you have The Basic Instincts and Disclosure and Fatal Attraction and Wall Street. I mean, so many good films he's done, and so consistently good. This is just, like I said, next in line. Yesterday I spoke about Meg Ryan and Addicted to Love being her last really, Meg Ryan formula type movie. I stand corrected. That is You've Got Mail, which really, Addicted to Love, I said, was a little darker for her. This is really Meg Ryan at her finest, and their second with Tom Hanks. And I always say this is Sleepless in Seattle, but instead of being over the phone, it's over the computer. And it shows you when you have two good actors and they're able to work together. It doesn't matter what the storyline is. You can play that over and over again with a few changes here and there because we're going to want to watch the actors. And at the beginning they don't get along, but of course along the way fall in love. It's really good. Dabney Coleman plays his dad, and I'm a big fan of his. I think he's terrific, and he does a fabulous job. And it's a great love story. And to me, this is better than Sleepless in Seattle, and I enjoyed a lot more, and I watched a lot more. And this, I think, now is the end of the Meg Ryan run, and then she starts doing stuff like Courage Under Fire and so on. But a really, really good film. My runner-up for 97, Jeff Bridges, The Big Lebowski. Boy, we're talking about consistency. Is there anyone as consistent as Jeff Bridges? And the thing is, his look changes, but he never does. So it doesn't matter if he's doing movies like The Big Lebowski and he's the dude. And by the way, I have this sweater. Love it. Or he's doing Against All Odds and he's a football player. Or, he's in Seabiscuit and he's a millionaire owner of a horse, which we'll talk about down the road. Whatever it is, he is Jeff Bridges. He is really consistently good at doing what he does. And, you put him with John Goodman and the banter between the two of them, and you can watch this over and over and over again. Steve Buscemi, awesome, right? John Turturro as Jesus, Jesus, and it's a good, it's a great comedy. And I know we all know it, and it's funny. And, I got this awesome steelbook for like $4, about 8 months ago. So it was a steal. I had it on DVD, but I had to get the Blu-ray steelbook because it's cool. All right, so that leads me to my number one for 97, Jean Reno, Robert De Niro, Stellan Skarsgård, Sean Bean, Ronin. One of the best car chases in the history of film. It's filmed in Europe, has a great, thrilling mystery action feel to it. The cast is really strong and powerful, and it's just a really good movie. It's one of De Niro's best of the 90s for sure. It kind of gets lost with Goodfellas and Casino and those kind of movies coming out, but I'll watch Ronin before Casino. I just will. I like Casino, but I like Ronin better. Goodfellas is better, of course. I like Ronin better than Heat. We talked about Heat the other day. Heat's a great movie, but I like Ronin better. I just think this is really good. And what's cool about this is I just got this from Arrow Video, which is a company in London. So a lot of their Blu-rays come in Region B here in the United States. We're Region A, so it doesn't play on our players unless you have a special player. But this is a region A and B, so I'm able to play it here, and it just looks so good and so clean. It's restored so nice through Arrow Video. They did an amazing job on this. So my number one for 97 is one of the best car chases, like I said, and a great story and great acting. It's Ronin. On the music side, got a little different today. Yes, the winner's probably going to be on the heavy metal side, but we have some good Brian Setzer Orchestra. Brian Setzer to me is a talent, right? I mean, he can sing, he plays guitar like nobody's business. He does a great job, and this is his big band now. And the Dirty Boogie, Jump Jive, and Wail. He does Rock This Town, which was a Stray Cat song of his with the big band, and it's a good rocking jazz orchestra album, and I really enjoy it. Excuse me. Rob Zombie's first solo album, Dragula, Super Beast. It's really good. He's creepy. Almost looks like a Manson type, villain character on the cover. But it has kind of a rock kind of techno feel to it is the best way I can explain it. I don't know if that's the exact way that he would explain it, but that's definitely how I hear it. And it's different, but it's good. And it has a little bit of darker feel, but a light feel. And, he really likes the movies, as we know, by him directing and, doing the Halloweens and other things that he's done. And so he kind of puts a little bit of that movie twist, as you see by the back picture in black and white here, into his work. And I think that makes it kind of fun. And once again, we've talked about this, but I love when the two kind of cross paths. It's really cool. All right, next up is a band called Stradivarius. I think I talked about them once before. Maybe I haven't. Stradivarius, of course, is that violin. This was an album that I saw, and I saw the cover, and the name sounded good, and so I thought I would, give it a shot, and I love it. It starts off with the title track, Destiny. It's about 13 minutes long. It's really, really good. SOS is amazing. Playing with Fire. This was a great surprise for just being a blind buy, and of course that triggered me to buy a lot of the albums after this, of course, as they came out, and then going back into the catalog and going to the beginning, and it's just a band I really enjoy. And in the mid 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, I mean, they put out some of their best work, and I think, to me, Destiny is their best. It's really strong, and it has that melodic power, a lot of dueling guitar sound to it with keyboards and stuff. It's pretty cool. It's unique. Runner up is Bruce Dickinson. We talked about him yesterday with Accident of Birth. This was his next solo album, The Chemical Wedding. A lot of the subject matter is based off of the poet, artist William Blake. William Blake actually did the cover. I think it's called The Ghost of the Flea or something like that. So the works are based off of him, but also the art is his. And it's my favorite guitar, or one of my favorite guitar players, and Adrian Smith's still with him, and then Bruce Dickinson singing, and it has a cool story. Like, each song kind of has a theme to it. Like, first song is King of Crimson, which is about fear. Then the next song is Chemical Wedding, which is about tragedy. And then the next song, I think, is about union. And then there's a song called Trumpets of Jericho, which is about, I can't remember, but something else. Like, everything has kind of a subject to it, that kind of goes with it to have the flow. This is the Japanese version, which has a bonus track, which is Return of the King, which is really good. Killing Floor is good on this. There's once again, this is just a really good hard rock metal album with those kind of old school, religious, biblical themes to it, which are fun. I like when you get to actually delve into history and things like that, and this album does that for you. It's really, really good. Number one, though, is Halloween's Better Than Raw, and I brought you two copies because same cover, but on the U.S. version we get a bonus track called A Game We Shouldn't Play, and then on the Japanese version you get Back on the Ground, and then I have another version where it has all of the songs with all the bonus tracks. This was the album that kind of got me back into Halloween. I was listening to them all through, growing up, and then they kind of changed, and I kind of lost them for a while. I don't know if I would really say I lost interest, but I kind of lost listening to them. And then I was in the store once again, saw this cover, and I thought, wow, that's cool looking. The witch stirring the pot, and the pumpkins are in there and stuff. And I said, I got to give this a shot, and I love it. From Hey Lord, I Can, Falling Higher, Revelation. The ones we already named as the bonus tracks are phenomenal. They have a song that they sing in Latin called Lavdat Dominion, I think is how you pronounce it. And what's cool, we just got done in class the last couple weeks doing scripts in different languages, and people will accept what they're given, and that's a great example. I listen to that song, and I don't know what it's about. I know it's biblical, but I don't know what it's about, and I don't know really what they're saying unless I look up the lyrics. And when I look up the lyrics, I get the Latin version to sing along. But it doesn't matter. It's just a really good song, and it shows you that we'll listen and accept and not worry about it. Now, would I like to learn how to sing it and do all that? Sure. I just don't have the time to really sit down and study it. But, maybe some point I'll get there. But I think it's kind of cool, and it's a cool tie-in to what we just got finished with class, where, you don't necessarily have to understand to appreciate and enjoy. But once again, I just think this is a really, really good heavy metal album. And once again, they're a power metal band. They're melodic. They have the dueling guitars. They got a lot of sounds. Andy Darius on vocals is just phenomenal. And this, once again, got me back into. So then I went back and got the last couple CDs leading up to this one and kind of got reacquainted with Halloween. And then it took off from there. And then it was just, you know, now all the new stuff with the old stuff, and hearing the new singer compared to the old, and all of that kind of stuff. And it was a good find. So 2 of these 4, right, or 5, Stradivarius and Halloween, were just blind buys, seeing them at the store. And that's sometimes the best, buying a movie that you've heard of and never seen, and end up loving it. Or maybe you've never heard of it, and you give it a shot. And the same with music, and I love that. And I did a lot with music, and that's how I found out about these bands. And you know, and like I said, with Halloween, you know, being reacquainted with them, which was kind of cool. So my number 1 for 97 is Better Than Raw by Halloween. And then, like I said, the film side, Robert De Niro, Jean Reno, Ronin. All right, that does 98 for us. Tomorrow we will do 99 to finish out the 90s. You know, and then we start Monday with the 2000s. It's crazy. It's gone by quick, but it's kind of fun to go revisit these movies and these albums and take me back. You know, 98 was the year that my first daughter was born, and, you know, it was a good year, and good year for music and a good year for movies. We'll see you tomorrow at 99. Once again, leave your comments in the comment section, and we'll see you then.